On WMUN 92.5 FM, 1340 AM, and the Gainbridge Ball State Cardinals Sports Network, welcome to This Week in Ball State Sports, highlighting the Cardinal teams, administration, alumni, and community. Now here's the voice of the Cardinals, your host, Mick Tidrow.
And welcome into This Week in Ball State Sports, a Thursday morning here on WMUN. Special thank you to Steve Lindell for producing here today. And we've got a loaded show that's just going to have one guest on today because there's so much to catch up on across Ball State athletics. Director of Athletics Jeff Mitchell joins us on the show live. We'll go 30 minutes with Jeff today. Jeff, we haven't had you on in 2026, so I guess it's never too late to say Happy New Year.
Well, Happy New Year to you, Mick. Thank you so much for having me. And you couldn't get anybody else, could you, for today?
We had a long list of guest options, but we said, you know what, we need to have a long conversation with our AD. It's been a minute.
This is making up, Mick, for bouncing me last week and a couple of times during the year in the fall. Is that right?
You didn't have to tell the public that, but yeah, we did have to move some things around to make some other things happen earlier. So it's redemption today.
Okay.
It's redemption today.
All right. Very good.
What's new in your world right now? What's the new year been like for the Director of Athletics of Ball State?
Well, we get right into it. The spring is exceptionally busy. We have so many different teams competing, and I realize that it's ironic that I use the word spring when I look outside the office window and can't see a blade of grass because of the snow covering it. But the spring semester is full of activity here, and we've got a lot of sports that are already competing. Some of our more traditional springtime sports, like tennis, for example, already competing on the men's side, with women's tennis starting in another week or so, and baseball and softball are training. It just comes at us really fast. So preparing for what the spring looks like and how we support our student athletes is really important. And of course, our winter sports with the two basketballs, swimming, indoor track, men's volleyball, it's just fast and furious. So there's a competition, it seems like, all the time. And I'm really grateful that our staff had a break over the holiday season and the Christmas period because they need it because the fall's busy too. And we get right into it at the beginning of the new year. So, and it's fun. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of activity, but it is fast and furious right now as we support our 450 student athletes competing across 19 sports.
Ball State Director of Athletics Jeff Mitchell with us live here on WMUN and This Week in Ball State Sports. Jeff, you mentioned basketballs are in full swing right now. Last night, women's basketball, another dominating win over Buffalo to continue their unbeaten streak in conference play. 103-61 was the final last night. Cardinals are 5-0 in MAC play. Again, they've done that a couple of years in a row. What are you seeing from the women's basketball team right now that has them just in a dominating force?
Well, I think it's a team that is hungry to continue to improve. Coach Selly and I were talking after the game last night that he's so proud of the work and the effort that they're putting in on a competition-by-competition basis, but more significantly in practice as they just continue to gel as a group. And this is a team that hadn't played together. You've got a lot of new faces. You got a lot of younger talent learning a system that has proven to be very successful here at Ball State. And they're learning it, and they're getting better at it every day. And I think that was on display last night, both defensively and offensively, in terms of how we move the ball, in terms of how we defend, really in a tenacious way. And you saw a lot of contribution from a deep bench of talent. And I think that is going to be critical for our continued success, is to have that depth. And I think you saw last night that about 10 to 11 members of that team got significant minutes last night. And they were very productive minutes, and it led to, as you say, a dominating win. So they're really fun to watch because it is an up and down pace, and that also is important why we have this depth that we do, because we can just sub in multiple players at a time and keep that pressure on the opposing team. And it's just a lot of fun to watch, and really proud of where we are right now atop the Mid-American Conference. And, we got a lot of season left. And so it's exciting for our fans to see us play at Worthen. We got a couple of big games coming up next week, as a matter of fact, against UMass and against Miami. And this is, of course, after we go on the road on Saturday to play Western Michigan. So a lot of good basketball coming up.
Director of Athletics of Ball State, Jeff Mitchell, joining us on This Week in Ball State Sports. We'll take our first break. We'll come back. Jeff rejoins us, and we'll continue the conversation around what's happening around Ball State athletics coming up next on the show.
Behind every strong hip and knee. Behind every strong shoulder.
Good catch.
Behind every strong team is our highly skilled team of experts in orthopedics. IU Health is the official healthcare and sports medicine provider of Ball State Athletics, and we're here to keep you moving. From acute injuries to chronic pain and conditions, go where the athletes go. Walk-in appointments for new injuries are available Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. And you can always schedule a same-day or next-day appointment and wait from the comfort of your home. Visit iuhealth.org/MuncieOrtho to learn more.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix, guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000 items. And you never compromise your appetite with our golden brown bread that's baked fresh in store. And you never compromise your wallet with our lower prices. Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never compromise. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
Continue on here on This Week in Ball State Sports every Thursday from 9 to 9:30 right here on WMUN, and you can search This Week in Ball State Sports wherever you get your podcasts as well. We'll have it posted a little bit after the show concludes. There's already 17 prior episodes throughout the course of the 25-26 academic year to go enjoy. Wherever you get your podcasts, again, just search This Week in Ball State Sports, and you will have any at your disposal. All right, back to this week's show. Director of Athletics Jeff Mitchell on with us live. Jeff, we were just talking about the women's basketball team, and one thing that we talked with head coach Brady Sally about last week was the emergence of Tessa Towers this year. What an awesome story that she's been for that women's basketball program.
Well, I'm really proud of Tessa. She had a very difficult experience at her previous institution and really fell out of love, so to speak, with basketball. And I think she has found enjoyment about the game first, and then has really relished being a part of the culture that comprises of our women's basketball program, and has deep connections with members of our team. But she's also just improved as a basketball player. She's made a commitment to herself to improve from a health standpoint, to improve from footwork standpoint, to how to score the basketball, to how to defend, to how to get up and down the floor. And she is seeing the benefits of all of that hard work play out in real time in practice and in competition. And so to acknowledge a student athlete for putting in the work and for devoting the time to her craft to improve and to help her team is really important. And so for us to acknowledge that Tessa has improved significantly is affirming the type of student athlete experience that we want here at Ball State. And Tessa is a shining example of that right now, and I couldn't be more proud of her and the way she leads, albeit in a quiet way, but she's very loud on the floor with the way she's performing right now, and she's really fun to watch.
Director of Athletics Jeff Mitchell joining us here on This Week in Ball State Sports, talking some women's basketball and what's happening around Ball State athletics. Jeff, we talk about basketball. There's some changes coming to the college basketball landscape, specifically in the transfer portal section of this conversation. And news dropped yesterday that the NCAA and the representative teams and programs are going to adopt the new transfer portal window situation. And it's not going to be the day after Selection Sunday. It will be after the championships end for both basketball programs. How do you think that benefits what the game of basketball can be at the college level?
What I think it does is establish a new set of guardrails around the transfer portal. I don't know that there's going to be any portal window where everybody's going to be really excited about it. And I think you have an argument to be made, why the portal at all. But we're in this era now. We've been in it for several years. And I do think that the Basketball Oversight Committee for both men's basketball and women's basketball, through the governance system of the NCAA, is doing really good work in terms of identifying the challenges associated with the portal, with listening to coaches and other administrators about what's most effective. We've talked on the show before about the challenges associated with the football portal window, and all sports have these portal windows. The basketball one now will open the day after the national championship game for each gender. For the men this year, it'll open on April the 7th and end on the 21st. For the women, it'll open a day earlier because the women's championship game is the day before the men's. And it's a 15-day window. This will be the fourth iteration of the transfer portal window for basketball since the transfer portal became a real thing.
That's pretty crazy to think about.
I think it was the 22-23 academic and athletic calendar. So it's the fourth iteration, and so it continues to be refined. Mick, when it first started, it was a 60-day period. And then it got shortened to 45 days, then it got shortened to 30, and now we're at a 15-day window. And it's an excruciating time for the practitioners in our business, which are the coaches, because there's a lot of waiting, and then there's a lot of frantic activity. If you have a student athlete go on the portal and you've got to go try to recruit somebody else, or so it is a very trying time. So we're making that window shorter. Now, we're also kicking it to after the season. This will be the first time that the portal opens up when all of college basketball has been completed. And you're going to, see some announcements early of students entering the portal. It was kind of what we experienced with football. So I think it prepares us to what this basketball cycle will look like going forward. But I think the more we adjust to the landscape, the more we'll learn from it. But it keeps changing, and that's what is somewhat, not somewhat, it is challenging for us in our industry to keep pace of what, how we need to behave, because it's just different every year. I mean, the football portal has been around for that same length of time, and it's changed every year as well. And it is really trying as we continue to figure out what our next steps are. And so we're now prepared in terms of knowing when this portal window is, because there had been some speculation that it was going to change. Originally, it was going to open after the second round of the NCAA tournament. And now, obviously, it's been kicked after the championship game. So it'll be a race when we get there, for sure.
When you look at how this changes just the mindset of athletes and coaches and programs, overall it feels like, from the outside, it feels like a very big win for the game of basketball, so that a lot of the focus is on the NCAA tournament. Because you said it, there's going to be athletes that want to enter the portal before it officially opens, and they'll announce that. But it seems like in past years, Jeff, the last few seasons, it's been, okay, the day after the selection Sunday, which is one of the biggest days in all of college sports, then you have the window of the portal opening, and you have players starting to put one foot out the door before they want to even compete in a tournament game. From this side of things, it just feels like that's going to help things be a little bit more smooth. I know you said there's probably not a perfect way to do it, but this feels like a really good option for what has been previously laid out there.
Well, we'll certainly find out. I do think that there is some advantage to essentially having a cooling off period at the end of the season, where student athletes can evaluate where they stand, where coaches can evaluate the teams that they coach and make prudent decisions about advancement and what it looks like going forward as you construct a roster going into next year. There are a lot of student-athlete protections that are codified in these NCAA bylaws that are designed to keep students in school to advance towards a degree and to continue playing the sport that they enjoy. But there is, at the same time, all this freedom of movement that the student athletes enjoy as well. So the idea of pushing the portal window back a little bit allows for some evaluation to take place that perhaps didn't exist beforehand. And I think that may very well be a good thing. However, it is still going to be difficult to construct a roster right away, as most coaches will want to do, because they won't be permitted to talk to students that enter the portal, because you can't enter the portal until April 7th. There'll be some back channeling that's going to happen. I think we have to be realistic about talking to people, agents that are in the equation now, to AAU coaches, high school coaches, things like that. But they can't directly talk to the student athlete, which most coaches really want to do. And we'll see how the actual practice of this shakes out as we go through it for the first time in men's and women's basketball. But I do think having a little bit more of an evaluation period will be helpful. At least I'm optimistic about that.
Director of Athletics for Ball State, Jeff Mitchell, joining us talking the basketball transfer portal with some news that just dropped yesterday and how it's going to open after the championship's complete instead of the day after Selection Sunday. We talked about women's basketball and the portal now. Looking at some of the other sports in action right now, Jeff, men's volleyball is off to a 3-0 start with Coach Iandolo's first week officially in the books, and now they head out west for some big matches. What do you make of their first 3 matches so far this year?
Well, I think they've played really well. They've had the opportunity to play deep into their bench as well, which I think will prove very helpful as the season progresses. And now we go on the road and play a couple of really good teams in UCLA and Stanford. The good news is we're playing on a neutral floor in Arizona, and I think our guys are up for the challenge. We'll see how things go, but Coach Iandolo and his staff and our group are playing some really good volleyball to start the season, and excited for Coach Iandolo as he takes the reins of the program full time. And I think that culture is pretty fun, and those guys are fun to be around, and they work really, really hard. They love the game of volleyball. They are in the gym all the time, and I think they really have fun playing the game, but they also have fun playing with each other. And I think that's been on display in the first 3 matches of the season. We've gotten to see those in Worthen Arena, and we have a lot of matches this year in Worthen Arena. It's the most home matches that we've had in men's volleyball since I've been here. And so our fans will have the opportunity to watch us compete at home a lot more than they have, which is exciting, especially as we support a team that we project to have a really good season. So looking forward to continuing to watch them develop and grow as a program.
Jeff, you mentioned it. They're playing UCLA and Stanford in their next 2 matches, January 17th and 18th. That's this weekend. And then they return back home to Muncie to take on Maryville and Charleston January 22nd and 23rd. That's a Thursday-Friday setup. You can check out your tickets, ballstatesports.com. Call 888-BSU-TICKET and be ready for those next 2 home matches. Gymnastics also back at home on Sunday. They picked up a win against Western Michigan, dropped to Rutgers in the season-opening meet at home last weekend, but really fun atmosphere, Squishmallows Day, and coming up next on Sunday at 1 o'clock is K-Pop Demon Hunters Day. Jeff, have you seen the film yet?
I have not seen the film, Mick, but the best songs off the film are on heavy rotation, right, on the radio, and so I get my fill when I'm in the car driving around when I'm not listening to WMUN. I hear the K-pop Demon Hunters songs playing, and that means that I'll know all the words to the songs when they're played on Sunday at the gymnastics event.
So you're already ready. And at this point, once the meet's over, I expect there will be a lot more people that go out and see the movie with all the music that's about to be displayed. I don't know. That's just a theory.
You may be right.
I don't know. We'll see. But first 150 people do get a glow stick and get to have some fun at the gymnastics meet. So if you're one of the first 150 people on Sunday for gymnastics against Bowling Green, 1 o'clock, get yourself a glow stick and be a part of K-pop Demon Hunters Day. Jeff, with the gymnastics program, we were talking with Joanna Salim last week and just how much they're excited about this season. The returning roster that they had, a lot of star power with the likes of Ashley Sismansky, Zoe Middleton, Alana Sims, so many returning pieces, and then some new faces as well. How would you assess where gymnastics is at after one meet so far this year?
Well, I was encouraged by the performance this past Sunday. I thought that you saw, I think it was 14 different members of the team competed in an event, and I think Coach Salim was trying to see, all right, here's our first event of the year. Let's see where you are. And I think she was excited to see that depth of talent. And, I think they'll probably shrink as we go into meets coming up, and which is consistent, I think, with how the program evolves over the course of any given year. But it was exciting to see that many different student athletes compete on Sunday, and I thought we were great. I thought we had a chance to win the meet outright. We came up just short of Rutgers, but we defeated Western Michigan. And given a couple of routines that it could have gone the other way for us with a couple of mistakes that were made, I thought for the first meet of the season, when the nerves are at their highest, I thought we did a really nice job. And talking to Coach Salim after the meet, she gave me the coach look, saying, we made too many mistakes, which is, the thing that a lot of coaches are going to say in close competition. But I think she was really pleased with just that depth of talent on display, and certainly fun. The crowd was energetic and excited to see him again in action this Sunday.
Director of Athletics Jeff Mitchell joining us here on This Week in Ball State Sports. We'll take our final break, come back with Jeff. We'll talk football and much more to wrap up This Week in Ball State Sports.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix, guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000 items. And you never compromise your appetite with our golden brown bread that's baked fresh in store. And you never compromise your wallet with our lower prices. Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never compromise. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
Behind every strong hip and knee. Behind every strong shoulder.
Good catch.
Behind every strong team is our highly skilled team of experts in orthopedics. IU Health is the official healthcare and sports medicine provider of Ball State Athletics, and we're here to keep you moving. From acute injuries to chronic pain and conditions, go where the athletes go. Walk-in appointments for new injuries are available Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. And you can always schedule a same-day or next-day appointment and wait from the comfort of your home. Visit iuhealth.org/MuncieOrtho to learn more.
Wrapping up This Week in Ball State Sports here on a Thursday morning, every week 9 to 9:30 right here on WMUN. Thank you to Steve Lindell for producing here today. Jeff Mitchell's our guest the entire show, Director of Athletics of Ball State. Jeff, we talked about women's basketball a bit. Looking on the men's side, they're back in action at home finally. Feels like they've been gone forever. Friday night basketball against Ohio at 8:30.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's a CBS Sports Network game, a late tip, 8:30 tip, but looking forward to having Ohio come in to Worthen Arena and playing some basketball. I do think our guys have played a little bit better the last couple of games against some good opponents at UMass, against Akron. We've had some injury issues, and getting some guys healthy, getting back into the rotation, hopefully sooner rather than later. So looking forward to continuing to support them as the season continues. Certainly not the start to MAC play that anybody wants. And the challenge every day is just to continue to improve. And I do think that's been on display a little bit. Coach Lewis has emphasized improving communication on the floor. I think he's emphasized protecting the basketball, and I think statistically you see that we have improved in that category, and at the same time he has suggested that our communication is improving, and so I think as we continue to develop, hopefully we're going to break through here and get a few wins as MAC play continues. But it is a challenge, and we have to keep showing up and weather the storm.
Jeff, one of our last ones for you here today. Football's in the midst of the transfer portal window. Tomorrow's actually the last day of the portal being opened, without giving away anything because we're not allowed to officially talk about signings and things like that until it's officially official. But what do you make of how Ball State football is operating right now in the portal?
I'm very encouraged by what is happening. I've talked to Coach Yurmovich multiple times over the last couple of weeks as the portal's been open. Of course, the football portal officially closes at the end of the day tomorrow. Certainly we've had student athletes that have entered the portal from Ball State, and as I've said all along in this transfer portal era, that the transfer portal is going to taketh, but it also giveth, and we are the recipients of having student athletes coming from programs that are really good football programs, and student athletes who are good football players who are maybe looking for something a little bit different. And I think they like what Coach Yurmovich and his staff are telling them, and I think they like what they see in terms of a trajectory that is going up and a commitment to development at their position, development as a team. And we've had some really talented student athletes come through our doors over the last couple of weeks. And we've also talked about the challenge associated with the portal window and as it aligns with the academic schedule. And, we have student athletes that have been enrolling in classes in the first week or so of this new semester, and certainly have different avenues for those that will start with us this semester, but a little bit later, and they'll take classes in a second 8-week term. But again, I know we're not talking too specifically about what is transpiring, and we'll be able to divulge all of that new information here shortly, but you're going to see between 30 and 40 new faces on our football program, and some of whom are going to be immediate impact players on both sides of the ball. And so I think that's really exciting. Coach is very energized by it, and at the same time, he's looking forward to getting his full team together, which he can't really do until the summer. But for those that will be here for spring practice, he's really excited to get that in place by the end of the month.
Can't wait. You've got me fired up for the fall already, and it's January 15th. Jeff, appreciate you joining us as always. Thank you so much. We'll talk with you soon.
Thank you, Mick. Go Cards.
That's Director of Athletics Jeff Mitchell of Ball State. Now, if you're ready for football season like me, just go ahead. Start looking. Get your tickets. Start reserving. Call the ticket office. Get ready. Ball State football will be here before you know it. Check out ballstatesports.com. 888-BSU-TICKET for all of your ticket needs for whatever sport you want to attend. Thanks for joining us on This Week in Ball State Sports. We'll talk with you next week, Cardinals fans.
Thanks for listening to This Week in Ball State Sports. The preceding has been a Gamebridge Ball State Cardinals Sports Network presentation on 92.5 FM, 1340 AM, WMUN.